Okay, there we go.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning once again to everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. For those maybe who at this point maybe still don't know who I am, I'm just going to introduce myself again. I think also for the likes of the new ones like Tanatwa. My name is Blessing Matsiva. So I'm a service executive assistant to the operations director / customer success operations supervisor here at Telco. I'm working from the Harare office, and today I'm going to be taking you through the first of multiple trainings that we're going to be having in a drive to upskill all of us, which are the DOS agents, into so that we can provide a better service to our customers by ensuring that a lot of the customer incidents, the customer requests are resolved in the best or in the quickest possible time. And we can achieve that mostly through upscaling ourselves so that we can handle quite a huge portion of the incoming tickets from our customers, right? So I'm sharing my screen here. Could you please just confirm that you are seeing my presentation?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So today we're actually going to go through three things. Firstly, we're going to go through the ticket creation and escalation process, whereby I'm just going to give you training on what exactly is the process from the time that we pick up a call and we're speaking to a customer, or we pick up a WhatsApp message that has come from a customer, or it's an email that has come from a customer. So we're going to go through the ticket creation and escalation process. We're also going to go through an introduction to the new help desk teams structure, right? And what do I mean by that? So we'll go over that in detail. But what I mean by that, currently when you come to your help desk, I don't know if your view will be the same as mine, but what you're going to see is a lot of help desk teams like the legal compliance, customer case, Nandi, Paratas. So what we're doing, all of this is going to change, and we're going to reduce the amount of teams that we have here into only the teams that we are going to be interacting with on a day-to-day basis, right? So we're going to reduce from about, I think there's about 20 something help desk teams that we have in help desk we're going to reduce that down to 10 teams. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how we're going to be using those teams. So just so you know, currently those teams, we are not yet using them, but we are very soon going to start using those new teams. And it's best for you guys to be aware of how we're supposed to use them before they come in, so that by the time they come in, we are not stuck or we're not having any confusion, but we already know on the go what we're supposed to do, right? Then the third thing that we're just going to look at is creating tickets from customer contact cards and moving them through the different stages of the ticket, right? So first thing, looking at ticket creation and escalation process. What I have here is a BPMN diagram, which is basically a process flow that we follow when we are creating and handling our tickets, right? So as you can see from the top there, the first thing that we have is a customer contact card. What are we saying there? We're saying that we are going to receive a report from a client, either through a call or WhatsApp or an email, right? So what are we going to do from the time that we receive a customer call? We're going to go to the customer contact card, which is our first point through the ticket creation process flow. We're going to go to the customer contact card. Then when you go to the customer contact cards, we'll be checking the first things that are supposed to check for the customer. That is, firstly, is their internet up or is it down? Do they have credit or do they not have credit? Are they disabled for any reason? Maybe it's payment or non-payment. We are all going to get that from the customer contact card, right? Then from there, we're going to check if any tickets are open. I'm just going to maybe at this point ask you to just try to remember this process, but we're also then going to go through the ticket so that I take you through the stages as well, so that we can actually see the stages practically. But for now, let's just understand the process, and then we'll go take a look at it more practically, right? So the first point is your customer contact card, right? You look at that and then you do the first check. So you're checking your billing, you're checking your network, is it up, is it down? You're checking if the customer has credit, if the customer is out of credit, right? So after that, you are also going to check, are there any other tickets that are open for that particular customer, right? If there are tickets that are open for that customer, then it's a different process we are going to talk about. If there are no open tickets for that customer, then we proceed to create a ticket for that customer only after we've determined that there is no other open ticket for that particular customer, right? So from after we've created a ticket, the next thing we have to classify the ticket. By ticket classification, we're saying that, is this ticket a billing ticket? Is this a sales ticket? Is this a network ticket? Through that classification, that's the one that is going to let us know what the next process will be. So if it is a billing ticket, then it's going to go through a billing process, which we are also going to discuss in another training. If it is a sales ticket, it's also going to go through a sales process, which we are also going to discuss. But particularly today, we're going to go through the process whereby the ticket is classified as a network ticket, right? So you've classified that the ticket is a network ticket. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to troubleshoot with the customer using a set checklist that you're going to see in the system. We'll talk about that one as well. You're going to go through the checklist with the customer, and that is doing your basic troubleshooting, like just checking with the customer, is your equipment powered up? Is it not powered up? Can you check if all your cables are connected? Then if maybe they are not connected and you advise them, no, can you make sure that this cable that is going from this device to this device is properly connected? Then if they do that and the incident is resolved, then you have to come to another process, which then takes you to RIFO, which we'll talk about. But if you go through the troubleshooting checklist with the customer and it still turns out that the incident is not resolved, which at that point you then move the ticket to second line for further troubleshooting, right? So at this point, this ticket will now be a second line, so you won't have much interaction with it in terms of actioning the ticket. But I'd also like you to just be aware of what then happens when a ticket goes through the second line for troubleshooting, right? So when a ticket goes through second line for troubleshooting, either the incident can be resolved on the desk. So maybe it could be an issue of password change, or it's an issue of SSID change, which at the moment we are not able to do except for the second line guys. But once we are now able to do it as the first line team, that whole structure will change. But currently, if it's something that can be resolved on the desk by second line, then they will do the resolution. If it's not something that they can resolve on the desk, then the incident will be unresolved and they would have to escalate that incident. Before they escalate the incident, they have to classify that particular incident into, is it either a product team incident, or is it a core networks incident, or is it a service maintenance incident? Whereby we're saying that maybe it's a product team incident whereby maybe the client's data is mismatching, right? The client is on a 135 gig package. They've only used about 50 gig, but the system is saying that they've depleted their data. That's a product team escalation, which will then go to the product team. If maybe it's an issue that the client is connected, everything, the whole setup from the client side is okay, but maybe the client is not able to browse because of a certain incident that is happening, maybe with the POP that needs to be reconfigured or some things need to be fixed, then that becomes a core networks escalation from the second line. And if it is an incident that needs on-site physical attendance, let's say it's a customer that has reported that my radio fail or my pole fail, or it's a customer that has been troubleshooted and the second line has discovered that the client's radio is no longer connected to the base station, or maybe the client radio is connected to the base station, but maybe with a poor signal. Therefore, the technicians need to go on site and realign the radio. Then that incident is escalated to service maintenance. And for all those these three teams, product, core networks, and service maintenance, there is always a task creation, right? So a task will be created, which you also be able to see from the tickets that for a particular incident, a task has been created for escalation, right? So this escalation will then go to the respective teams. And after the teams have worked on that task and they've managed to resolve the incident, it then comes back to the ticket, and we, at this stage, we expect the second line team to include the reason for outage, which is in short is called the RAFO. The RAFO, that is the reason for outage. Why was the client offline? Why was the client down? Why was the client facing the certain challenges that they were facing? So the second line will add that to the ticket, at which point the ticket then comes back to us, that is the first line team. The ticket then comes back to first line, and at first line was saying that our duty now, when the ticket has been resolved, is to make sure that we call the client and we confirm with the client that for sure their incident has been resolved, right? Only after that, it is also our duty at this point to then close the ticket. Once we've noticed, once we've checked and made sure that we have an RFO as well as client confirmation, right? Then we proceed to close the ticket. Then there will also be a process that I'm also going to train later, which will be for ticket ratings, whereby we expect our customers to be giving us ratings once we have closed that ticket. But we're just going to take a look at that in another training, right? I don't know if there is anyone with a question at this point. Before I move on to the practical demonstration, just using maybe some test tickets as we go through the process. Right, I'll take it. No one has a question. Right. Now,
Sure,
let's
Dave.
go
Are you
into
understanding everything? Please make sure you're understanding. If you have any questions, this is the time to ask, not later. Please ask questions.
Illumin is fine. Rovisan is okay. Omniscience is okay. Right. Fantastic. Now, let's go through an actual. Let's just go through an actual ticket creation process, right? Say you have a customer who's called and they've reported that their internet is not working, right? And the customer's name is Blessing Mazira, right? So what we're going to do from our Udu, we're going to first go to the contact cards, right? Contacts. Then what are we going to do? While we're on the call with the client, just going to do a quick search, Blessing Maziva. Look for that, then pick the client's contact card. Right. So from this very stage, there's already a lot of information that will help us to determine this particular process right here. Sorry, this particular process for ticket classification. Whether it's a billing ticket, it's a sales ticket, it's a network ticket. This is where we do this classification, right? So if you come here and you see there's PPOE accounts there, if you go there and currently you're seeing that Mr. Madziva right here is on an unlimited package, which means that there's no way his data is depleted because he is on an unlimited package, right? You can see that he has no off-peak balance, and you can see that his status is active. Right, from there, you know that there's no billing issue here because this customer's account is open and it's active, right? So there's no billing issue here. But is that a question? Yes, please proceed, Lumide. What's your question? Yes, Lumide, you're muted. You can go on and ask your question.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to ask, can you clarify to us the off-peak balance?
Okay, all right. The off-peak balance. There are certain packages. One of them, I think, is the Explorer 45. I'm not sure of all the. I can't tell of all the packages by head, but there are certain packages that have off-peak balances. And what are off-peak balances? Off-peak balances are balances that kick in, or the client usage starts to deduct from off-peak balance from the hours of 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. That's during the week, then as well as Saturdays and Sundays. That's when the client's data is being depleted from the off-peak balance. But if it's during the week and it's between the times of 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., that's throughout the day, the client's data will be depleted from the main balance. But when it's now off-peak, it's now being depleted from the off-peak balance. So that is the off-peak balance. It's working for certain times which are outside of the normal usage times. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Fantastic. Right. So if you see that the status is active, the main balance is there, the client is not on zero, or like we've been seeing, which is something that has to be sorted, where we will see clients maybe that are on 2 gig, but then the status is deactivated, of which the system at that point already is saying that the client has depleted their data. You also know that would have been a billing incident. It's not a network issue that is to be resolved. It's a billing issue that has been resolved, whereby the customer now has to do a top up, or maybe there is a certain reason why the client has been deactivated. Maybe they've not paid up all their installments and they are due some payments. Maybe that's why they would have been deactivated. So then from there you just know that okay, this is a billing it's a billing incident. So then you escalate that onto the billing tickets channel, right? And then while you're here, you can also see these two right here, where it's saying router up, router up okay, and layer 2 up okay. So these are things that I'm also going to discuss in a later training, but this is an indication that particularly focusing on this one because this one is still being worked on, but particularly focusing on this one. If the router is up, this means that physically or on the client side, the client's internet should be working, or the client's connection to our system is okay. So they shouldn't have a problem with the internet. Though I am not saying that every time you see this is up, it means that if a client is complaining about their internet not working, it's not a network issue. This could be up, but maybe the client could also still be connected maybe to the wrong Wi-Fi, or they may be connected very far from their internet, and we can still classify that as a network issue. So this is an indicator that their network is up, but is not to say that they do not have a network issue. I hope that makes things that is clear. Right. Then if you drop down here by more, you see a couple of things here. You see customer statements, you see subscriptions, tasks, tickets, purchases, a whole lot of things associated with the customer. But the things that want to particularly look at is customer statement, right? So lucky enough for Mr. Madziva, his account is not one that he pays for, so there's no balance there. But for a client who is owing a certain amount, you actually see a balance there. It could be $44, could be $23, it could be $100. You see the amount that a client's owing there, and it will be clearly put in red, right? Then subscriptions, this is the subscription that a particular customer is paying for. Each customer by right is a subscription that should be attached to their contact card, which shows that they're actually actively paying. We have tasks. This is a count of all the tasks that were created for this particular customer. So 11 tasks for me here. A lot of these are because maybe it's sometimes or it's switched off my internet, and you'd get NMS tickets that are auto created, right? Then where we are mostly concerned with is on tickets. Right. So this shows how many tickets have been opened for this particular customer. So what we're going to do, which is at this step here, where we are checking for open tickets, right? So coming back here, we're going to go to Mr. Manziva's tickets. So we can see a whole lot of tickets that were assigned to a whole lot of different people. But what we want to know is that, are there any open tickets for Mr. Manziva at this point? And what we're going to do to see that, we're going to click on the filter there. We're going to look for the filter written open, right? Once you click on that, it will show you all the open tickets that are existing for Mr. Manziva. Right. So allow me to just use a client that I know who currently has an open ticket. Right. Let me say Zoa. Right. So for Kumbira Zoa, if you go on their ticket, sorry, on their contact card, you go to PPOE details, you see that the client is remaining with 20 gigs of data. The status for the account is active, and then you know right away that there's no billing issue here. The client is well topped up, his account is paid up, right? And he still has credit in his account. So no billing issue. All right, then this one right here is going to tell you that the client's router is up, but I can tell you for a fact that this client's internet is not working and the link is down, which is something that I'm just going to take up with the DM so that we sort that out. But for a lot of the clients, this should be very accurate. But for this customer, I know that the internet is down, but we would have to sort that out. But what I'm mostly interested in at this point is the tickets right there. So if you go into the tickets, then we use our filter, which is going to show us only the open tickets, right? You see that this particular customer has two issues, right? He has one issue that is assigned to Anesu Chidzanira, and it's a billing query, right? So the customer, all right, please clarify. Client is disputing the outstanding balance of $31 from last year. This was actually a working customer, so I think Anesu must have dealt with this customer and sorted out his issue. And then if you come back to the tickets, you also see that the client has a ticket for radio offline. So in this particular instance, we can't really call this duplicate tickets. Why? Because they are tickets that are being that were open for different reasons. A ticket for billing and a ticket for radio offline. Those are tickets that will definitely go into two separate channels and will not be resolved by the same people. So in some cases, yes, you can have two open tickets like this, and it makes sense if one is a billing incident and the other one is a network incident, because like I said, they're being solved by different people. But if you come here and you have the client on a call, maybe someone else now who's also reporting on the same link that their network is not working, you can already see that no, their network is not working because why? There's a radio offline and that ticket is already being opened. So at this point, there will be no need to create another ticket, but you just then go onto that same particular ticket. And what you then do is just update with the current information, maybe from the time that that client is called, so that all the other troubleshooting that would have been done prior is not lost through maybe someone else then taking a look at another open ticket for that same particular incident. I hope this section is clear. Right. If that is clear, then that is fantastic. So going forward, hopefully we won't be seeing any unnecessary duplicate tickets, right? Because this is the step that should make sure that you do not open any duplicate tickets. So even if there are NMS auto created tickets, you should see them here, of which at that point, if there's an NMS auto created ticket and the client is reporting that the internet is down, there's still no need for any of us to open another ticket, but to go onto that same NMS ticket, then update on that ticket that this client reported their issue. They're saying that this is what's going on. Then you can then escalate after you've done maybe your troubleshooting checklist with the customer. You can then escalate to second line for further troubleshooting. I hope that is clear. All right, fantastic. So that's the process up to checking if there's any ticket that is opened. What I'm going to take you through, I just want you to stay to just pause right here on open tickets. What I'm going to take you through now is the help desk teams restructuring that I mentioned earlier. And what are we saying about that? Currently, we have about 18, 20 help desk teams that are there. But what we're working on reducing this so that we only have the help desk teams that we are interacting with on a daily basis, right? So the help desk teams are not yet active, but I know the tickets that we're supposed to use. So just give me a second whilst I just open that. All right, so I'm just going to filter out all the help desk teams that are supposed to remain: bronze, silver, gold, platinum.
Blessing.
Yes.
Before you continue, can you ask some questions on the last information that you just shared, just to make sure that there's uptick? So maybe just go around the room and ask some questions based on what you just shared.
Okay.
Yeah. Before we move on to
There's nothing that I like more than picking on some unexpected people.
yes.
All right. Right. We're going to start with Rurisan, thank you very much for laughing. So you survived. I'm going to go with Similo there. Similo, do you have any? No, in fact, not do you have any questions? Please ask a question. Because from all that, there must be some things that you obviously want to
know. What I meant was you ask the questions and they must answer based on what you just shared.
No, okay. No, that's all right.
Like, okay, what is this, or how do we do this? All the things, the steps that you've just taken us through. You can even go back to the flow chart, or maybe not show it, but ask the questions. So a mini test, one for everybody.
One for everyone. Okay, now plenty. All right. Right, Smilo. What's the first thing that we are doing when a client reports their issue? So we are on a call with a client. What's the first thing that we're doing before we even create a ticket? Or where do we start?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Maziva. Is it fine with you if you can open that diagram?
No.
You want to read the answer?
Oh, okay. So if the client calls, the first thing that we do is to check is to open their contact card. Yes.
Fantastic.
So the thing that we check in the contact card is the PPOE, if they have some data, and check if they are on unlimited or yes. Thank you for opening that, Mr. Maziva. So then we check the one router up, okay, if it's okay. But then if it's down, then definitely there is a problem. You said layer 2 up. We mustn't focus on it for now because I think it's a work in progress. So we need to focus mainly on the router up. Then what we then do,
for others. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very good, guys. But as it's very good.
Right. Then I'm just going to go to Lungile, then Omniscience. Then I think later I can have questions for the other guys. Right. Mr. Lungile. Right. So in this process, we've gotten our call from the customer. We've gone through to their contact card. We've checked things like is the layer 1 up. Sorry, the layer 3, which is the router. There's the router up. We've checked the PPOE details to check if there's a billing issue, and we've noticed that no, the status is active. They've got credits. What then do we then do if the client is still reporting that their internet is not working? What's the next process?
Okay, so after checking all of that, the next process is then now to go check for open tickets, if there's any tickets that are open.
Yes, fantastic. Nice, short and precise. Just the way that it's supposed to be. All right, thank you for that. Then the third person I said it's omniscience, right? We've opened let me look for another customer. Contacts. Karim. Right, omniscience. So Mr. Lungi, let's just say that we open all the client's tickets and then we check to see which ones are open. Right. So we've checked for Karen Anin and we've seen that there are some tickets that are open, but the client has called you and seemingly they seem to be reporting a new incident, but they are reporting that their internet connection is still slow. What do we do from that point?
So on the open tickets, we should check classification. Firstly, check if it's a sales ticket, billing ticket, and a network issue ticket. Then if it's a network issue ticket, we should look at the issue that was reported prior. Then if it's still the same issue or it's linked to the prior issue, we just update the ticket.
Right, fantastic. We're updating the ticket. We're not opening a new ticket. We're updating the ticket that is there. If it's an NMS auto-generated ticket that is there, we just update the details on that NMS ticket. And then we're now using that as the open ticket for the customer's incident. Right. Thank you guys. You guys are really onto this. Right. And then I was now going. Right. I was now going through the customer, the help desk teams that are now going to be working with. Keep in mind that these are not yet live, but as of next week, I think the devs would have now worked on these help desk teams. They are a total of 10. So far I've put up 4. The other ones are critical, right, major, right, area faults. Then we still have billing and sales tickets. Right. So at the moment, once this is now live, you are going to see that we're going to have about 10, unless we add 1 or 2 more. We should have 10 help desk teams. And what is the purpose of those teams, right? So we start with focus on bronze, silver, platinum, and gold customers, right? First of all, do we all know what an SLA is, or a service level agreement? Right, I don't see any thumbs up, so I think I'll need to explain that. Right, an SLA or service level agreement is an agreed upon time between telco and its clients as to the amount of time that are supposed to take to resolve their incidents, right? Especially incidents around internet that is not working, service outages, basically, mainly service outages. It's a bit different for quality of service, but for service outages, there are certain times that we have to adhere to, and those times are called SLAs, right? And those SLAs are set according to the type of customers that we're dealing with. So for our very premium customers, those are the likes of RBZ, the CPZs, the Crocos, the NMBs. Those are our platinum clients who also are very high up on the scale of how much revenue they bring into the company. So for this particular clients, their SLA is 4 working hours, right? And what we mean by that? We mean that if NRZ reports that their service is not working or they have a service outage at 10 a.m. in the morning, by the time we get to 2 p.m., which is 4 hours later, that incident is supposed to have been resolved and that ticket is supposed to have been closed. You understand? So those are for our platinum clients. Our premium customers, their SLA is 4 hours. There's going to be a document that I'm going to share with you that is going to detail the different SLAs for the different customer categories, right? So for platinum customers, the SLA is 4 hours. For silver customers, their SLA is 8 hours, 8 working hours. For gold, platinum is 4 hours, then followed by gold. Gold customers, their SLA is 8 hours. If you're clear, we're just going to jot this down because I'm going to ask someone. So for gold customers, their SLA is 8 hours. Silver customers, the SLA is 12 working hours. Then for bronze customers, the SLA is 16 working hours, right? So what do I mean? So even for bronze customers are the customers that we value so much, but these bring the least revenue to our business. Not that we do not value them, we value them very much. They just bring the least revenue. Therefore, their SLA is a bit extended, which is 16 hours. So what that means is that from the time that you create a ticket as the first line agent, the clock is running down. To the time that we are going, or we as the first line agent are going to close the ticket after resolution, the clock is running down, right? So we have, for bronze customers, we have 16 hours from the time that you open a ticket. Then we do all the process of troubleshooting. We do the process of escalating to second line. We do the process of creating tasks, if it means on-site attendance, closing that task, having the RFO, and subsequently closing that ticket. We have 16 hours to do that. Anything that is outside of that, we have breached the customer's SLA, right? Then, if you're asking yourself, okay, we have different help desk teams, how then do we know which help desk team are we supposed to create a ticket in? Because Omnisense doesn't know that Mr. Madziva maybe is a silver customer or Mr. Madziva is a gold customer. So how do we know which help desk team to put the customer in, right? The way we know, I'm just going back to my contact cards. Madziva. Right, Mr. Madziva here. If you come to sales and purchase and you scroll down, Mr. Madziva here has a particular SLA policy that they are in. And you can see that Mr. Madziva there, because he brings no revenue to the company, yes, that is a complimentary service. His SLA is bronze, which means that if he has a service incident, we are expected to resolve that in 16 hours, 16 working hours, or in other words, 2 days, right? But for you to know which help desk team to create Mr. Madziva's ticket in, you are not necessarily going to have to come to all the customer contact cards and see what bronze SLA is there. But what you're going to do is you're going to come to your tickets. You're going to make sure that you've only filtered the open tickets, and you've ensured that there isn't any open ticket for Mr. Madziva, and then going to create a new ticket, and you're going to say, blessing Madziva, internet down, right? The moment what the system is going to do, which is not happening at the moment, but that is going to happen, is going to pick the customer as blessing Madziva right here. Then it's also going to pick Mr. Madziva's SLA policy, which will then automatically pick Mr. Madziva's help desk team, either bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. Understood? So we don't have to scrape our heads or spend time going to check SLAs. What SLA policies do they have? Okay, so I'm supposed to create them under this help this team. No, the system will pick what SLA policy they are on. Then is also going to pick what SLA policy, sorry, what help this team they're supposed to be in, so that you don't have to stress, right? But what you're going to have to change is for billing tickets and sales tickets, whereby you've noticed that the client has been logged for non-payment, or maybe the client is out of credit. So out of credit still falls under network incidents, because you can then just let the customer know that their credit is out, and then they are supposed to make a top up. But for other billing issues, for sales issues, you will then have to change. Personally, we will then have to change the first line into either billing incidents or sales incidents. Is that understood? So platinum, bronze, silver, gold, platinum. Once you create a ticket, it's going to pick either of those four automatically. But billing, sales, if you know that it's a billing incident, it's a sales ticket that needs to go to sales, you're going to change that manually as first line into either billing or sales. But for the SLA teams, that's going to pick automatically. Right. Then the other teams that are going to have its major, critical, and area faults. So for this as first line, we are not really going to interact with those teams, as the teams are mostly internal. They are mostly internal tickets. What do we mean? If it's a critical incident, or if it's a major fault is one whereby our POP has gone down, right? So what you might see as first line is you might see an influx of calls that are coming through, clients reporting that the internet is down. And from second line troubleshooting, that's where they will pick up that no, either from second line troubleshooting or from the core networks who are actively monitoring the POPs, that's where they'll pick could know we have a POP that has gone down. And for those incidents, a ticket will be created under major incidents. Then for area faults as well, second line troubleshooting is going to pick out that no, these customers are being faced by an area fault. Why? Maybe they've got the same downtime, they all are in the same location, and they all lost connectivity at the same time. Then that's going to be an area fault. And second line is going to create a ticket for area fault, and this help this team for area faults. Incidents. So we are mainly focused on bronze, silver, gold, and platinum customers, as well as sales and billing tickets. Is that understood? Right, perfect. Time for a few questions just to see if people are paying attention. I'm going to start with Mpo, senior. Right. Can you just tell me the SLA times for those four help desk teams, bronze customers, silver customers, gold, and platinum? Is Mpo in the room? You're muted if you're trying to say something. Okay, I'll take it. Bo is not in the room, or maybe he's occupied by something. Tanaso, are you in the room?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. Okay. Bronze, silver, gold, platinum. What are
So
the SLAs?
for the platinum customers, it's 4 hours. For
Yes.
silver customers, it's 12 hours.
Yes.
For gold customers, it's 8 hours. And bronze, it's 16 hours.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Right. I think that part is understood. Then now we're just going to look at the last thing, the last bit, which is what did you call that? All right. So we're going to look at the stages for the current tickets, so that we are just all aligning as to how are we moving the tickets between the different stages, right? So I'm going to go into our help desk, and then I'm going to go into our customer contact center. Right. I'm going to start with the data mismatch here for Mandiona. Right. So forget that this ticket is a ticket for data mismatch, right? Let's say this is a ticket for a customer that has reported that their network is not working or their internet is not working, right? Perhaps the client is by themselves, they've created the ticket using the Ubi chatbot, at which point you would see the ticket right here at new, right? So as first line, we are going to come to the help desk customer contact center, help desk team. We're going to see that the ticket is on new. We're going to move it to, okay, so I will ask Ma'am Davis just to correct me if maybe I'm wrong, but this is the process. So from new, you're going to move to customer contact. At this point, we're going to give the customer a call, try to find out what exactly their issue is. So you've given the customer a call, and the customer has mentioned that they are having a network problem whereby maybe they cannot even use the internet is not working. Maybe it's just saying that connected without internet, right? Of which at that point, we're going to go through with the customer through what's called a troubleshooting checklist. Millicent is currently working on that. What we're going to see is an area here for troubleshooting checklist, whereby you are going to pick that this is a network outage, and it's going to pop out some questions for you, whereby it's going to ask you to ask the customer, is the network powered on? Is the equipment powered on? Then there is also going to be a checklist where you're going to say yes, tick. If not, it's going to prompt you to ask the customer to power on their equipment, after which they do. It's also going to ask, has the issue been resolved or the issue is still persisting? And if you're going to say, no, the customer is reporting that the issue is still persisting, you're going to go down with the whole checklist just to try and see if there is anything that can be resolved by the customer with their equipment. After you've gone through the whole checklist and the issue still has not been resolved, then you're then going to have to move to, okay, so at this point, when you're doing the checklist with the customer, this is first line. I think between between you and customer contact, we might need to remove one of the stages. By the time you're doing the troubleshooting, you're at first line. And then after that, when you've gone through the troubleshooting checklist with the customer and the incident still has not been resolved, we're now moving the issue to second line, whereby second line teams are now going to pick it up. They're going to do further troubleshooting. And if they fail to resolve it on the desk, then they're going to have to plan intervention, at which point you're going to see a task created right here under the log notes. Either a task is going to create it for core networks, that is Chaka, Bruno, or a task is going to create it for the developers, that is Best or Ashford or Tanaka, or a task is going to be created for the technicians to attend on site, right? After that, this task has been closed, where at that point, second line is going to pick up that task once again. They are going to put the RIFO, which is the reason for the outage, the reason why the client was down in the first place. Once they've put that, they're going to move the ticket to solve stage, whereby us as the first line agents, we're going to pick up that ticket and we're going to give the client a call and verify if their internet is now truly working. Once they've confirmed that, yes, my internet is now working, then we proceed to move the task to closed stage. So we move the tickets to closed stage. Is that making sense? Any questions? Any questions before I ask? Ask now or I ask? All right, seems like everyone understood, so that is fantastic. Ma'am Dando, any additions, maybe things that I would have left out?
No, I think we're good. Let's ask some questions.
All right. So if everyone is good, I think for today, that is where we're going to end this training. What I'm also going to do after this, I'm just going to revise some of the training agendas that we discussed with Mem Dando, and then I'm just going to share with you Mem Dando. Once we've shared that, once we've agreed on that, we can then put it up on the knowledge space so that everyone is aware on the dates that we're going to have certain trainings. Then I'd also like, I'm sure we're also going to put the links to these trainings on the knowledge as well, so that we can always come back and refer to this particular training. Maybe at times when we need clarity on something, or there's something that we are not understanding. Right. I think for this training, this is the end. Thank you very much, guys. You guys have been interactive, and I hope that what you've learned in this training, you understood, and we're going to start applying it where possible, and where maybe not possible at the moment. Once everything is sorted out, we still apply what we've learned here. So the other major reason why I took you through the help desk teams, the new help desk teams, even though they're not yet there, is because once those teams are now up, I wouldn't want it to be confusing for you guys, whereby you're just coming in at work and then you're seeing that everything has changed. So just expect that the changes are going to happen. And when they happen, I would like to believe that we'll know exactly how to handle the tickets from the process that we've trained today. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Please have a wonderful day.
Okay, great, wonderful, good job. Thank you, Mr. Matsua. That was really helpful. Before, I thought you were going to ask someone to take us through the Kanban states and to make sure that there's understanding there of how we move through the different Kanban states. But who didn't get to answer? Mkondis.
Hello.
Hi. Is that
Yes.
okay, Mr. Matsua? Can you take us through the Kanban states there?
Mr. Matthew, I think, has left.
Oh, has he
meeting.
left?
Yes. Me, I didn't
Oh,
answer because I was attending to an inbound that side. So
oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll just say that the training is going to be available on the Knowledge Commons as soon as I'm able to upload it. And then we'll also share it to our internal group, make sure that everybody has a chance to review it. There'll be more training. We'll be training every day from 9 to 10, from 10 to 11 for the next week. There'll be many things like the desktop troubleshooting and all of that we'll be covering. So just stay tuned. If you're not in the office, look out for the links on the group and then make sure you catch up. Otherwise, good job, everyone. We'll take care. Have a good one.